Okay, so here's the next film in the series to do with food intolerances. Having had a session with Hannah Keelston and doing kinesiology, I'm now talking about, so my first session was end of March. This is the 10th of the 5th, 2019. So in May, I had another retest, and the retest was to see if the foods that I should avoid had diminished, and if there were some foods that I could reintroduce after having taken my 4 different food supplements to help me. So for example, I had food enzymes, I had a glycemic complex, I was taking probiotics, and I had taken Berberine and Grapefruit Seed to kill off the bad bacteria. So having done that for a couple of months, how has my body improved? And what can I do now? What can I reintroduce? How can things evolve and change for the better? Before I talked about my list of things that I couldn't eat, and now I'm going to tell you, so the things that I could reintroduce, which was really interesting. And she told me how to go about reintroducing those, and I can tell you about that too, and which supplements I could stop or reduce as well as part of this process. So the foods I could reintroduce were white wine vinegar, spirit vinegar, barley, rice, prawns, mackerel, and cocoa. When she said chocolate, I was like, yay! I can start having chocolate again after so many years. I was super happy about that. I wasn't quite so bothered about, spirit vinegar, for example. Oh dear. I'll just go on to talk about the supplements, and then I'll tell you how I reintroduced those foods. So the Similase, she said take 1 capsule with just the main meal or fatty meals. So this was the enzyme that helped me digest my foods. And so I didn't have to take it anymore with breakfast or like a small evening meal, for example. I would just take it with my bigger lunchtime meal because I had more to digest, so I still needed help with digesting that food. But with smaller meals, I was creating enough enzymes in my own body to be able to digest those myself. So that was amazing news. She told me with the glycemic complex, which was helping me with my intolerance in digesting and assimilating sugars, I could stop that. So that was after 2 months I was able to stop that. Again, brilliant. Then the probiotics, Pro B11, so there was, I think, 11 different kinds of probiotics in there, which is a really broad spectrum compared to most probiotics, which might have 3 different kinds in. The one I bought was by Nature's Sunshine, and I could buy that product from Amazon, and I would buy a 90 capsule pot. And just to let you know as well, the other supplements, I was buying it from a company on a website called www.lambertsheathcare.co.uk. I'll put a link in that below, but I'll say it now as well, www.lambertshethcare.co.uk, and the telephone number was 01892 552 119. How to reintroduce rice. As a vegan, what I used to do is drink rice milk, lots of it, every day. And I didn't realise that I was intolerant to rice milk or rice. So, I'd pour it onto my cereal, feel rubbish, not know why. And so she said, okay, so if this is a glass, that's my size of glass, you'd put a tiny, tiny bit of rice milk in the glass and you would drink that. And you'd only reintroduce 1 food every 2 days, because it would take you 2 to 3 days to, if you have had a reaction from the food, it would take you 2 to 3 days to properly allow that phase of reaction to diminish back to nothing again in your body. For me, I could feel that flaring up within half an hour. Sometimes it was as short as a couple of minutes, depending on what I had eaten and what quantity, how kind of intense that food was. For example, rice can be diluted in rice milk, but you can also have whole grains of real rice, which is much more kind of potent. Hopefully you can kind of understand what I'm trying to say here. So if I've had a reaction, then wait 2 or 3 days until you either try and reintroduce that same thing again, or you try and introduce another food. So for example, for me, it could be a tiny piece of chocolate. Like if you've got a square of chocolate, I was reintroducing, like literally nibbling off the corner of one square. That's how it works. So I kind of went between reintroducing the same thing for a while, or going through phases where I'd reintroduce different things depending on what I felt like doing that day. There also came a point where I was maybe trying to reintroduce a bit too much, and I was still getting quite a lot of physical symptoms, you know, because I was still having food intolerances and I wasn't cured yet. And I was just kind of doing it all a bit too quickly, and my body was getting tired, and, you know, with all the symptoms, I just needed to have a rest. So I went through a period of time where I didn't really reintroduce very much at all for quite a period, like a number of months, because I just wanted to feel okay and just go back to just avoiding all the foods, just so that I could go to work, so I could live a normal life without having all the reactions and headaches and blah de blah all the time. I just had enough of it for a bit, so I kind of took a pause and then started again when I feel like I haven't had enough of a pause and I can go back to this process. Next, I'm going to go on to the third allergy testing that I had to see further down the line how things had improved once again.